Hey, Fernando, thank you for the thoughtful question. I actually want to start by challenging your premise around the future is determined, given something you took as a given the future is determined by human agency. And while I generally am a strong believer in human agency, and I do believe we all have agency over our own lives as individuals. There is this sense in which agency can only go so far, and certainly in the face of some of the sort of societal macro public health headwinds that the world is facing right now. I think there's a sense in which the agency can get warped, can get turned against oneself quite dangerously. So I'd recommend a reading. I'd recommend Thucydides' The Peloponnesian War, specifically the section. You have to get one of the translations, but specifically the section around the plague in Athens. And if you read about the plague in Athens, granted it was a lot worse than COVID-19. So people were like dying in the streets. The death rate seems like it was like 100% or something, but it certainly hijacked folks' agency, such that people became really animalistic, and it was just about all trust between people went away. It's just about the animal impulse of like, what do I want? What do I need? Now it was sort of this very short-term, hedonistic, animalistic survival mode where, like, yes, people had agency, but they weren't using agency to build any sort of productive future. It was this very destructive type of warped agency. And I think that plagues in particular are very powerful warpers, hijackers of agency, and can really screw all sorts of things up. That'd be sort of part one. Part two would be that even in the best of times, I think sort of one individual's agency only goes so far. And so, I've sort of, in my specific case, I feel like, well, I have agency over sort of my own life. I have agency to sort of not be owned by anyone else. So I'm sort of that's sort of I can not be owned by anyone else. I can sort of try and build a business, build bedrock, and sort of invest in these companies, and sort of have a great life, have love, have friends, have happiness, have family, and that's sort of the extent of the agency that I sort of have. I don't think I have sort of agency to change the arc of history, and I feel like the people who actually in practice do change the arc of history don't set out to change the arc of history. I don't think it's a predetermined, I'm going to change the arc of history type agency. I think they're agentic in these sort of in these ways that are have to be contextualized and juxtaposed against the specific times, and it's generally this sort of self-interested agency, and ultimately they end up if you run the ex post analysis, they change the arc of history, but they don't set out to do that. And so all of that is a long-winded way of saying that I probably don't think there's anything that you, Fernando, can do right now to change the way things are in the US. Thanks very much. Bye.